All right. You saw the riding videos. You saw what we did. I told you we'd come in and do a wrap up of what we think about this bike. We've had it for a little while. We've broken it. We've fixed it. We've upgraded it. We broke it again and then fixed it with a lot more power. So I've got Doc, who's been here during the whole process. He's a pro rider and our dog's going to walk right in here. Go on, get.
Probably can't even see him.
Yeah, probably not. You're right. Anyways, Doc, who is a pro dirt bike rider, most of the video you see of somebody looking fast on the bike is me and not him. Isn't that how it works?
Sure.
Yeah. How tall are you?
5'11", 6 foot.
Yeah, right around 6 foot.
Yeah, right around 6 foot.
Yeah. So
depends on the shoes.
Depends on the. So we want to like, what do you think about the size of the bike? Like when it first came in with the stock bars and the foot peg,
it's tiny.
There's no way to ride.
It's meant for a 5-year-old kid to go play around on.
Maybe 7, 8, and 10-year-old kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a smaller kid. I'm just saying, like, honestly, with how small it was, a 5-year-old is going to be a little taller because it sits off the ground pretty high. But other than that, like the frame of the bike, the way that everything, the controls were together, it was the same length as a P-dub.
Right. Yeah. It was. It really, like the rider triangle was most definitely P-dub-esque, as far as size. But the height off the ground, you couldn't be somebody. A PW rider couldn't have rode this. We then, you saw, built the bracket. Moved the foot pegs down an inch and back 2, or down 2 and back 1. I think is what it was. I can't remember.
Down 2, back 1.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And put the tall pro taper. Those are the XR50 mini racer bars, I believe what they're called. Made a huge difference.
Huge difference. It changed the entire feel of the bike.
Yeah. And so that was a big deal. Then I broke the brakes, the factory brakes. The lever didn't break. It actually broke the caliper. I showed that in one of my other videos, and I'll make a playlist of this bike here. So if you want to go back and watch those videos, we'll have a playlist for everything on this bike. But you can't just really replace.
No, you have to replace the whole master cylinder.
So we upgraded to 4 piston brakes. I think it made a difference.
Yeah, 100%. Like, especially the rear brakes, because the motor could overpower the other brakes. Where these ones, it can't.
And with these brakes, do not have the cutouts. Another thing that we got rid of those cutouts, because the brake cutouts would be great when you're teaching somebody to ride. The stock controller and stuff like that, and we'll get to what we did here in a minute, but it had an adjustment on it that you could tone it down a lot. This would be a great bike to teach 8, 9-year-old, 10-year-old kid to ride there. Maybe not 10, but like 5 to 10 years old, they could learn to ride on this bike.
I mean, you could teach like your mom how to ride on something like this, especially with how you could turn it down and stuff. And then what he was talking about with that control, with that cutoff, is when you'd hit the brakes, there was no power going to the bike anymore. It was all.
And there was like a hesitation when you let off. There was
It was like a very small hesitation, and when the throttle came back.
So that was kind of weird. We removed those almost instantly.
Yeah,
got rid of those.
I think that's one reason why I may have fried the motor. But
they were gone already by the time.
That's what I'm saying. It's probably one reason.
Maybe
I was the one that was on it whenever it fried.
Well, yeah, we'll get to the smoking of the bike, or the motor, or the controller, or whatever we killed. But the factory grips are like riding like this. My hands are filthy. I've been working in the shop, but they're like riding, holding on like this. They're terrible. I hated them.
It's like putting your hands around. It wasn't this big, but around like a tennis ball container.
Yeah, it was. That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. Yeah, but the way that throttle was, there was no way around it. That's just what you had to do. So we rode it for a while like that, and we had some buddies over, and we were doing lap time challenges. When we were slowly, like, the fastest guy went last, so the slower guys went first. So the battery was slowly dying, and Doc is obviously the fastest of the group, and so we decided to make him go last to see if he can beat us with a depleted battery, which he wasn't even close. We demolished him.
Yeah,
right?
Totally.
No, but about halfway through your second or third lap,
we'd already done the lap times.
Okay.
But then I went to go ride it again. Probably 20 minutes later, we were sitting around talking.
Yeah.
I went to go ride it again. Did a lap and was coming up one of the hills, and it quit.
No, it was right after you
And
right before the U-turn on the
yeah,
track.
coming up
Yeah,
the
that bowl
hill.
turn, the bowl turn. Yeah.
No, it was coming up the hill
Okay.
before that.
It just died, like the battery was
Yeah.
dead. So
And then I would go to push it, and it just made crazy sounds
yeah, it
through
made
the motor.
the
So
motor made really weird noises. So I then contacted ebox and sent them an email, and they were they tried to be helpful. I'll be honest with you. I think they did. They're in Europe somewhere, so it's really hard for them. They don't have a like a actual deal with customers here in the United States, and so that's a problem. But before we get to that, real quick, stock motor, stock controller with the upgrades, bike was fun.
they're pretty fun. It's like it's worth the money of what you get.
They're $1,600,
It's worth that, especially if this is something you're gonna ride around in your backyard.
and you live in the city.
Exactly. You're riding around in areas you need to be quiet, and you're not looking to jump big jumps or do anything crazy on it. You just want to go ride around and have fun. It's the perfect little bike.
Well, my thought was
Um,
after owning it for this time, on like a backyard, like where you live in the city and you have a tight backyard track, this would be perfect. Where the backyard is too small for a Suron or a Talaria or something
yeah,
like that, I think this would be. And if you could talk your buddies into buying these things,
it could be
if
fun.
you could have a group of guys on these things, it would be so much fun because they're slow enough to push the bike where you can override. Riding a slow bike fast is way more fun than a bike that's
It's more gratifying
yeah,
to
and
ride
it's
a slow
yeah,
bike fast.
exactly. Um, so we killed it, and when we killed it, I had already been I had already placed an order, which is good, I guess, for the Electro and Co's upgrade kit. It's the EMT kit, is what they call it, I believe. It has a new controller. You saw on my last episode with the bike, we installed it. New controller and a new motor. The motor looks exactly the same. You really can't tell, except for I had to reroute this cable here. But other than that, as far as looking at the bike, you can't tell.
No.
Um, I never got the other stuff fixed. E-Box, they sent me a throttle, said this, it's going to be your throttle. That's what's wrong. They sent me a throttle. We put the new throttle on, didn't work. And I told them, I think it's the motor. I genuinely think it's the motor. It's cogging, it's doing some weird things. They said, nope, that throttle we sent you was bad. So they sent me another throttle, and they did send me the upgraded shock. I can feel, I haven't adjusted the preload on it to get the ride height, the sag right.
Definitely needs that.
It definitely needs that, but the shock feels better.
Yes, very much. It actually feels like it has rebound to it.
Yes, rebound dampening.
A rebound dampening.
Yeah.
And the other one didn't. So
so the upgraded shock, I don't know what they cost. They sent it to me for free. I did buy the bike. I haven't got anything for free except for the shock from them. So I'll be honest with you, I don't know what they charge for it, but it is better than the factory shock.
It's better, but I don't know if it'd be worth buying separately.
Yeah, I don't know how much it is. Like I think it's only like $50.
I still don't know if it'd be worth buying separately.
Because this bike is so small.
Exactly. You're not trying to jump this thing big.
And it has like a lot of flex in the swing arm. I've talked about that before. So yeah, you're not sending. This is not a sending.
And you can't go fast enough on this bike for the rebound to really matter.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Even with the upgraded controller.
Yeah, especially if you're getting it stock, you're not going fast enough for the rebound to ever matter.
Right. And so when we built this bike, or when we had this bike the first time, we drag raced it against the TTR. I mean, sorry,
the CRF.
The CRF 110.
Mm-hmm.
And it just blew the doors off of this thing. Like
right off the launch, ran off.
Right off the launch, it had a little jump, and that's because the CRS motor had to spin up. After that, the CRF 110, stock 110 with nothing but bars, and I don't remember if I done anything, but no motor mods or anything like that. And it just, stock airbox, everything. It just walked this thing.
No performance mods on that CRF.
Yeah, no performance mods on CRF. And then the next thing we did was we put that Electro and Co kit on there. And what do you think about it now?
It made the bike go from like a good fun bike to like a really fun bike, because there's and you'll see videos, like, probably see some videos of me riding it. It doesn't look like I'm going that fast.
Oh, you're hauling
compared to how fast it was before, it's night and day. It's so much faster. It has so much more response through the throttle. As soon as you're on the throttle, it's already responding. How the other one would lag, this one does not.
Oh, that brings me. I don't mean to cut you off. That other throttle had a weird thing in it where you give it full throttle, and then right when you let off, it would like give more throttle. It was really weird. This is
Mhm.
linear, smooth. I love
Yeah.
it.
But yeah, this thing is it's a blast. If it was just honestly, if it was like half an inch longer in the Dorada triangle, where the foot pegs were back another half inch, and just everything was a little bit longer,
Yeah,
there wouldn't be a reason to ever think about being like, oh, like I would be totally fine getting this over a Suron at that point
really with the mods,
with the
like
mods
if
on
the
it.
wheelbase was
If the
longer.
wheelbase was a little longer,
Yeah, so like
probably,
closer to like a KLX or a
yeah,
CRF. I think it's 3 inches, something like that. I measured
it's
it.
really short.
It's
It's really
real
really
short.
short.
Yeah. Tight little stuff. It's really, really, really good on.
Yes, it does get. I was noticing riding it whenever it was faster yesterday, and
It gets
even
squirrely.
just yeah, it gets twitchy faster.
Yeah.
It gets twitchy now. It
The,
didn't get twitchy before with the older, slower motor
oh, because it's got so
because
much
it
more speed.
because it has so much more speed now. It does get twitchy.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. You're
Um,
right. I did notice that. The well, this is the stock battery pack. This is the upgraded controller and motor on the stock battery
mhm.
pack. They say it puts out 3,000 watts. The factory bike was claimed to be 2,000 watts. That's what the 2.0 is. And with a upgraded battery, which is not a cheap upgrade. I did not do that because I just didn't have the money for it at the time.
Didn't want to spend it.
Yeah, exactly. It's supposed to put out 5,000 watts.
Yeah, which is there's no need.
Can you imagine?
We've already like, the thing is like the suspension. It's okay. It'll be perfect for somebody going around riding, hitting some roots, maybe hitting some small little hops and stuff like
Little
that.
doubles, the little doubles on the track.
I still bottom it out.
Yeah.
I'm 180 pounds and I'm still bottoming this stuff out
Yeah.
super easily.
Yeah.
Like way earlier than something of this size normally would bottom out.
Yeah, we don't bottom out the stock suspension on the on the CRF.
Yeah, CRF.
The
Even
KLX
like
has
the KLX, the TTR like 110s. None of them I bottom out on stuff like what this bottoms out on.
Yeah.
It's just it's not built that burly.
Yeah, it's not.
It's built for kids. We're adults riding a kid's bike.
Yeah.
So, but it's a blast.
$2,300. That's what
everything.
Well, no, let's see, because I upgraded the brakes, which was it wasn't much. It was like $60.
Average it to about $2,500. It's not going to be over that.
$2,500 right there. Is that worth $2,500?
Yes. Now, I would say I've ridden a lot of Surons, Solaria, stuff like that. If you're in the market and you're deciding between this or getting that larger bike, if you have room, if you have the space to ride the larger bike in, 100% get the Talaria or the Suron.
Yeah.
These are super fun, but if you can have it in your budget and have the space to ride them, those bikes are going to be better from
battery
life to actual power to how comfortable it is to ride to the suspension feel.
You can hit jumps on the Talarias and the Surons.
Yeah, stuff much larger than this without having an issue.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, of course, they still have their limits too. Everything has its limit.
Right.
At some point, you're just pretty much on a dirt. You're just gonna have to get a dirt bike. But
which we have, and we have pit bikes. And my conclusion on this bike is it's awesome for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a replacement for a pit bike.
It's not. Yeah, it's not a replacement for. It would be perfect to go ride around the pits on.
Oh yeah.
But it's not a replacement for having fun in your backyard with jumps and buddies and stuff like that.
Yeah, and
because you're not going to get 10 people to get this bike.
And if you do, which would be awesome, but if you do have one of these, also you get about, especially with the upgrades, we get about 30 minutes of hard riding. We don't just putt around. I know guys get a lot more time out of these, but you can't tell.
I can get about 25 minutes out of it.
Yeah, you can't tell from our videos because it's hard to tell, but our track has some pretty good uphills for the pit bikes. Like they're pretty substantial, and it'll pull those hills way better now. Even one of the videos, he's riding a wheelie up the hill. It will carry.
Yeah, I could never have done that on the old motor.
Yeah, with the old setup,
yeah.
But still, it gets about 25 minutes, and then it's pretty close to dead.
It's you will notice a lag in throttle response. You'll notice it. Minutes. You'll notice a lot less bottom end power. Not as much grunt out of the bottom of it. At about probably 20 minutes, and you have about 5 minutes more before it's not really. You're riding it back. You still have power to ride it back, but you don't have power to have fun.
And also, we have a pretty decent sized one double on our track that we haven't hit with it yet. I think you tried once, didn't you, when we first got it?
I did. I hit it, and I just I cased it with my rear wheel. But...
Okay, so it's doable. But our problem with it is with the trouble we've had getting replacement. Talking to them,
I don't want to taco it.
Yeah, we don't want. We don't want.
I don't want to break it in half.
We can. They sell the parts, so buying them maybe. But they have a warranty. It's a 30-day warranty, I believe. They did try to fix it, but they didn't listen to what I told them, and I didn't tell them that I'm making videos when I was talking to them about what I was fixing. I didn't tell them I know how to diagnose things. I went off of the information they gave me as if I was a customer like anybody else. Hey, it's dead. What do you want me to do? They told me a few things: charge the battery, unplug this, do this. And I did those things. And yeah, it looked like to us that the other motor died. But we were riding it extremely hard with like all day, charge it up, ride it. So the guys riding around in the cities and, riding in their neighborhoods probably wouldn't. I don't know if they'd kill that motor. This is the same brand of motor.
They wouldn't kill that motor. Thing is our track's also really tight.
Mm-hmm.
It's also way in the woods. It's hot in there. There's not any airflow.
And you're constantly digging out of a corner.
Constantly on the throttle. Yeah. Either coming into a corner, through a corner, out of a corner.
Yeah.
It's really hard on bikes. It's hard on pit bikes. It's hard on anything we take out there.
Yeah.
So that motor dying, I imagine it probably overheated.
Yeah, oh, for sure. We smoked it.
Even with the time I had off of it between the last time I rode it, it definitely just overheated. And but I wouldn't honestly I'm surprised it didn't overheat earlier.
Yeah.
Because we did probably 20 minutes on it, like back to back to back to back. One person getting off it, the next one on it.
Yeah.
And it was fine. So. Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't, because it was a really hot day that day too. Like we were all down there drenched in sweat.
So I think this brings the conclusion to the ebox stuff for right now, until we maybe either break it some more, or we find some more mods to it. We may put some short videos up of riding it, and some updates up with it.
Mm-hmm.
I got some plans in the future, and we're going to step up to the next size on the e-bikes, it looks like. So make sure you subscribe if you like this stuff. If you like the car stuff I do and the dumb stuff I do, then definitely subscribe, because I'm going to do plenty of dumb stuff. If you like Doc on the channel, then don't tell me, because I want him to tell me who you don't like him on the channel, so we can not have him on, because, I don't need to be replaced yet. But anyways, I really appreciate everybody for all the support, all the questions. If you have questions, I'll get on there. I do my best to actually answer them as quick as possible. But all right, so let's go, maybe go ride some dirt bikes.
Yep.
You want to see what you look like in here?
I don't really care.
You don't care?
I'm just sexy.
It's been recording this whole time.
Even better.